up? Thank y'all for tuning in to No Flag Radio. I'm your host, P. Gloved up in this bitch once more. Having a good ass time rocking this shit with y'all, man. Today we talking about police officer William Beuchner, who got popped out there in Alabama. Auburn, Alabama to be exact. And everybody's crying. They want people to be sad. So on my channel, we're not going to be sad. We're going to look into what dirt has been done by him, his police force, anybody else around him, his city, whatever. We're looking at it all. So we don't have to have no tears to cry about nothing that the police go through when they get popped. So I want to start off by getting into the story real fast. William Beuchner, Auburn police shooting. William Beuchner's funeral plans announced as the case details emerge. This comes from the Alabama, called the Alabama Sun, which is alabama.com. They are up on just statewide news, I guess. And the story says, let me get his face up there so we don't gotta not have him up there. There we have it. When Auburn police officers went to a mobile home Sunday night to investigate a report of domestic violence, Grady Wayne Wilkes opened the door wearing body armor and brandishing a rifle, according to newly released court documents. Wilkes immediately opened fire, hitting 3 officers, those records state. Killed in the shooting was veteran Auburn police officer William Beuchner. Wounds were to officers Webb, Sistrunk, and Evan Elliott. Visitation for fallen officer will be held at Auburn University. So forth and so on. So forth and so on. According to his obituary, Buechner graduated from Auburn University in 2005. He's a part of the Gunners Law Enforcement Motorcycle Club. Yada, yada, yada. And of course, he's a saint and all of this shit. Let's get to this. Let me get to the killer. Got to put him on there so people can know. Hey, there you go. That's how you look. There go the killer. This Wilkes character. Get his. There you go. Wilkes, 29 years old. He's charged with capital murder and 3 counts of attempted murder and 1 count of second-degree domestic abuse. So I guess he was beating his bitch. What was happening? He was beating his bitch. And then the police got called and he said, "No, you're not going to take me, cops." So he started shooting cops because he didn't want to have no issue with his domestic abuse. Oh, and it goes on to say, according to the charging documents, the officer met with the female victim who told them that Wilkes, who's her live-in boyfriend, the father of her child, physically assaulted and threatened to kill her. This is your white male saints, your male angels out here that they try to tell you is so angelic out here and who don't never do nothing wrong. Here you go. Beating his bitch, shooting cops. There you go. Victim fled the apartment, met the officers, got to blasting. Yeah, okay. So that's that story. Now they want you to feel bad about William Beuchner, and that's not what we do on this channel. So despite them trying to say he's a saint, you know, we're just gonna go on. Okay, he's a saint according to them. Now let's get into his police force and see what they do. Since he's a saint and he ain't do nothing. So a few years ago, the KKK got to waltzing their way around Auburn, Alabama. Like going door to door, putting out their KKK recruitment material. And people were like, what the fuck is this about? Why are y'all putting this shit on my fucking driveway. They were going to people's driveway, dropping this damn KKK promoting recruitment literature all over the place. I don't know if y'all can read that. Let me read what I can from it. It says, the traditional American Knights of the KKK is a pro-right Christian organization. So they, again, throwing Christianity under the bus with their white supremacy. You see how they do with their white extremism. We are not a hate group, and we do not affiliate with neo-Nazis, capitalized N-O-T not. But of course they lie. We're just white men and women who unapologetically stand for white people. That means white supremacy. That's code for white supremacy when they say white people. We're seeking intelligent, awake, aware Christian white people to join us. Christian meaning white supremacists. And we honor God, clan, and family, and the U.S. Constitution. That means we honor white supremacy. That's our religion, is what they're saying when they say they honor God. If you are aware that our civil liberties and our Christian religion and our Constitution and our American way of life, there's no punctuation in none of this shit. They're horrible writers. Are you aware that, if you're aware that all of this shit that we just named is under attack from the onslaught of multiculturalism and socialist ideals? So when they say multiculturalism, they mean black people. And when they say socialist ideas, that means black people as well. That's white supremacist coded language for black people. We talked about that. Socialism is a form of government that is not race-based. It's them saying black people. We got into that terminology before. I can expound down on it if y'all want me to. But this was the message they were sending, by and large. They was putting this shit in a fucking plastic bag, and they would put little rocks around the bag, try to weigh it down. And they gave their phone numbers and their addresses on these shits. It's like an address, a P.O. box out in Missouri was where it was ending up as being their address. Supposedly is what they say is supposed to be their address they was putting on this shit. And they're going door to door in Auburn, putting these messages out to the public. So the people was like, all right, we getting these flyers and shit. So they started calling the Auburn police. Police motherfuckers in Auburn, okay? Paul Register is the chief of the police out there. He's the chief that was over William Beuchner. All right, he's one of those chiefs out there. And what the Auburn police did as it was getting these calls, because, you know, people was like, hey, look, man, what the fuck is this? We getting these motherfuckers that are putting these messages on us, trying to recruit the KKK for us. What do y'all think about this, police? So the Auburn police, they got an address, a phone number. These motherfuckers going door to door recruiting. Evidently, they felt comfortable in Auburn going door to door with this crap. That says a lot. And the Auburn police sitting up talking about these motherfuckers is littering. They called it littering. They don't want to pursue nothing. You know what I mean? And if you don't want to pursue it, that means you want it to persist, period. Okay? That's an easy one to put together. So put this on your Auburn police. This is your Auburn police. Their chief out there, his name is Paul Register. And he's ignoring all these police calls and these complaints to the police about the KKK. That's a chief decision, right? The chief do that. And, you know, the way things work at a police precinct is whatever the chief co-sign, everybody below him or her, they do it. Everybody that's below him or her, they are on the same shit that he on. So boom, there goes Buechner. There goes his dynamite. All right, all y'all want to make him be an angel. Today was his funeral. Y'all want to cry for him and he an angel? He ain't no damn saint. When you come to my channel, he ain't no saint. He been down with a crew who wants white supremacist evil. Okay? I mean, this is his superior. This is his teammate who likes to soft pad white supremacist efforts at recruiting more white supremacists. I know y'all seen that. I know y'all put that together, right? So the police out there, they like white supremacy, period. All of them, they down. And this happened in a place called Lee County. Lee County is where Auburn is, a place called Lee County. Lee County, as you might guess, yes, it's named after General motherfucking Lee. General punk ass Lee, the loser, a Confederate general who lost the fucking Civil War. So that's the psychological current being kept up out there in good old Auburn, right? In that county and in that area. And I saw a few things that were interesting. You know, this area in eastern Alabama, we're talking about during and before the Civil War, even before the Civil War, this area was used to store supplies. All right? Where we looking at Auburn, Alabama on the map, they use that as like a storing location for supplies in the cotton industry out there, because they had a good transportation system out there. They had like some, I guess they had like a rail system out there to move these supplies. And during the Civil War, they turned those cotton supply stores into weapons supply stores. So Alabama was like, yo, all this shit is going down. Let's turn this shit into a weapons holding places, right? And after the South lost the war, the Union soldiers came through and tore up all the supply houses or whatever. So Alabama was like, all right, let's just name these tore up parts of our state after General Lee. They named Lee County after him. And they named a lot of the neighboring areas, like places like in Macon, you'll see like a lot of places and sites in the surrounding areas in honor of General Lee. I guess that'll be like, was it Russell out there, Franklin, something like that. All those different areas got General Lee name all over it. Places in eastern Alabama. So, of course, they have a deep history of slavery. Matter of fact, let me pull up some few things out here for these Alabama cops thinking they just all innocent and their area is all innocent and they just good old boys doing good, being good, staying good. Let me pull up a few things so we can call them liars and feel good about calling them white liars. Okay. So, let me pull this up for y'all. Can y'all read that? Y'all probably can't read that, but it's all good. I pulled it up here. There's a paper written called Meriwether Harvey is the guy who wrote it. It's called Slavery in Auburn, Alabama, a description of the institution of Negro slavery as it existed from 1850 to 1860. This is just a little 10-year swath. All right, and the facts are that not more than 6 families in Auburn didn't own slaves. Y'all hear me? Not more than 6 families did not own slaves in Auburn. That's all except 6. So basically, can't nobody white you meet who got roots in Auburn say that their family didn't own slaves. We're going to pull back the racist, white supremacist lies that white people tell daily about our slavery experience on my fucking channel. We ain't playing because, you know, they try to lie and try to coward themselves behind, oh, only a few white people own slaves. We're going to pull that shit back. Oh, well, my people, we didn't, yeah. We're going to hone in on that lie that is right there in Auburn. So black people, if y'all in Auburn, feel weaponized by knowing this, okay? Be prepared to knock their heads off when they come around you lying, talking about their family ain't own no slaves if you're out there in Auburn. Tell them you're going to need some receipts that they not one of the 6 families that didn't own slaves out there. And then you're going to double back and say, and you also got to prove to me that you ain't tangibly benefit from whiteness. It didn't tangibly benefit from whiteness in any way detrimental to black well-being in any way. Run that back to them, and they won't be able to show that. So we always got them in that box. They can never defend that. What I always say, as a white supremacist regime, this shit is set up to where whiteness in itself is a benefit. And definitely from those plantations they ran out there, they was using that 3/5 clause to make laws that benefited slave masters as well as whiteness, right? and the interests of whiteness over black society. So run that ADOS bag out there, motherfucking Auburn, Alabama, and just Alabama in general. You know, some of the most highly populated areas out in Alabama had more slave population than they did white people. Let me pull up this map real quick. Y'all see this? Okay, so this lays out all the areas and the ratio of black to white, and particularly white to black people that were enslaved. The blue part is what you see as enslaved people, enslaved black people. And the bigger the circle is, that's like the larger population, okay? Look at all these highly populated areas. Let me, so I can get a close up on it. I want y'all to see something. We're gonna pull up a bigger one of it. All right. So y'all see the area that I've highlighted? That's the area where right now today Auburn would be located in, that general eastern area. But look at all these areas. Montgomery, all these areas, Macon, Arbor, Loudons, Dallas, Perry, Greene, Wilcox, Madison. All these areas have high populations of slaves, and the slave population overruns the white population. All right, so you can already guess what the fuck was doing back there. What the fuck shit was doing back then and there. I mean, it ain't no joke. You can already feel what the climate was doing. So let me preface with that. Another thing, you know, I want y'all to look at what's going on the ground in motherfucking Auburn, right? Certain things that we don't want to slip on when we talking about when these police get popped. It's like, yeah, what the fuck be going on? Where you at? That your death had to come across the motherfucking channel of the universe, and you supposed to be a upholding the law type of motherfucker, better than all the citizens type of motherfucker. That's why this shit is critical. Like, y'all are supposed to be better than the average motherfucker walking around here, and y'all getting popped. 3 cops got popped just this year out in Alabama. Y'all supposed to be upholding the law. I don't know 3 people that got popped in certain cities, certain hoods, and since the beginning of this year, I can't name 3 people in some certain cities, right? That just says a lot. I'm just saying, if y'all supposed to be better than everybody, y'all supposed to be the angelic race, all of this shit. Supposed to be the angelic group, the police, the soul worthy of being protected group, the police. What? And none of y'all should be getting killed. Nobody should see you as a threat when you show up, especially not nobody white. They should know that you're good, right? Yeah. So, another thing, I just want to look at what's going on the ground in Auburn, you know, and what's seeping through the ground out there in terms of anti-blackness. They had one of these Richard Spencer rallies out there at Auburn University. We're talking about Auburn. It's a white supremacist rally they pulled off in 2017 where they was out there beating up folks who were protesting his presence out there at Auburn University, one of the main colleges out there. Like I said, matter of factly, William Beuchner is a graduate from Auburn University. Okay? And despite all this protest, Auburn University was like, yeah, white supremacist Richard Spencer, he can come through. He can go in and come through. It's his First Amendment. And I'm like, damn, the First Amendment. Richard Spencer is the motherfucker talking about we need a white ethno state. That was what his talking point was about. There's no need to listen to a motherfucker like that. And you can't get a white ethno state without cleansing those that are not white. So, what the fuck? Auburn University is giving him forum and supporting his rhetoric in a covert way. It's not covert, it's obvious, really. And showing that they're on code with white supremacy. Still today out there at Auburn University, they got that Auburn White Student Union out there. That's a white nationalist group. That's a white nationalist group that's actually attached to the school. They're attached to the campus name at Auburn University. They allow it to operate. You know what I mean? And they actually listed as a hate group with the Southern Poverty Law Center. I'm not a all the way fan of the Southern Poverty Law Center because they try to throw certain black organizations with these white hate groups that are just too many to number, too many to name. And these aren't black anything. These is bookstores and shit. They just be calling out anybody black, any black business. You register a black business, oh, we're gonna put you on the Southern Poverty Law hate group list. That's how they move shit. They don't got no type of delineation when it comes to black organizations, period. So take note of that. The Southern Poverty Law Center, they call these motherfuckers a threat. So Auburn is a white supremacist breeding ground. I want you to understand that. The school itself, they nurture white supremacy into the college years. And these white supremacists, they get out into the world like a William Beuchner, fully grown, working at these institutions like police forces, right? And judgeships and shit like that. And they be practicing white supremacy and injustice toward black people. And that shit is a cycle. So when police get popping, he come out of motherfucking Auburn, I'll be like, oh, they got him, did he get got? You know what I'm saying? It's what I be thinking. But Auburn is a racist breeding ground. This is my point. You know, on my channel, we're going to talk about white supremacy and white supremacist society raising and nurturing anti-black racists from childhood. Y'all know I do that. I've done this shit before. So, and I'm going to tell you, Richard Spencer, I guess he chose this area, back to him, he chose this area and felt cool about running there with his bullshit. This is just my thought. Because of its history, right? It's kind of a rural area. And truth be told, there's kind of this thing with rural areas in America, just in general. With rural areas, there comes this concept of erasing black people in America from rural areas. That's kind of a vibration that's been kept up in this country. And we need to be keen to that. Especially with a motherfucker kicking that ethno-state bullshit. I'm going to tell you why. Just the area that we're talking about in Alabama, this particular area, that's an area called the Appalachians, the Appalachia. So you hear people talk about the Appalachian Mountains, the Appalachian Trail. That's what they're talking about. It encompasses this area and several other states, actually. And in the South, you know, historically, things like national parks and certain land masses, certain bodies of land, they used to be segregated by federal law. These were segregated areas, but not like segregated in the way you would think, like, okay, black folk, they get to own this piece of national park land where only black folk can chill and we can shoot guns and fish and do whatever. White folk, they get this little piece over here. Nah, it was all white people have exclusive access to these national parks and trails and rural spaces like this by federal mandate during the segregation area. And black folk, your motherfucking ass wouldn't probably be seen around that bitch unless it was something detrimental and fucked up happening to you. All right? And there's plenty of stories about murders of black people along the Appalachian Trail, even into today. This shit it's a history going through them woods and going through you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. Understand that. Understand that though, really though. I don't know. So there's always been this thing about, you know, weaponizing sort of the rural areas of America against black people. That kind of comes with that ideology, this kind of taking over nature and using what's in nature against black people and the different things that nature provides, like shelter, resources. Nature gives cover in like a war situation. Using those elements against black society, that kind of comes with this ideology of, you know, segregating and keeping things away from black people that are nature related, right? We're going to get into that in some detail on my channel about how black people can reclaim our relationship to nature and how we can use it against white supremacy, like how they do in reverse, right? But in white society, it's like a damn rite of passage when we're talking about white conquest and them being the victor of conquests of certain elements in this society, to be able to use nature against black people, right? They high five each other about knowing how to weaponize nature against black people, okay? And I may do a post about Appalachia. Damn, if you just go up and down the whole trail, you can check the whole Appalachian Trail, up and down the trail from Alabama to fucking Kentucky, South Carolina, Maine, New Hampshire, New York, all the way up to Maine, goddammit. They got Confederate flags posted up all up along the trail, like markers, all up and down, all across these states. They got the Confederate flags popped up all along this shit. All right, this is white supremacist society is staking ideological claim to these nature zones in these states in America, right? Under an anti-black guise. We need to know this shit is going on. We need to know where these areas are at and be on alert in these areas, since they kind of got the drop on black society in these areas in that regard, in this particular trail space. Now, Auburn is significant, and it was probably significant for punk ass Richard Spencer to be out there and do his little white supremacist rally out there in 2017, a couple years ago, because Alabama is at the bottom of this Appalachian Trail, right? It's the southernmost part of the Appalachian Trail. White supremacist society has been marking territory along this trail, and Alabama is the deep south part of the trail. It's the energy center, the deep south energy center for that anti-black white supremacist energy that the trail has now come to symbolize in the deepest parts of the South, right? And it's holding that energy. It's a place to where, it's able to kind of porthole that anti-black energy into a particular meridian of the U.S. That shit is real deep. So, what else? Because Auburn is a real racist ass place. They got a horrible history of lynching and shit out there. In Montgomery, they got this chump ass lynching memorial. I'm sure y'all heard about that. I think it's a slap in the face to try to minimize the sheer number of lynchings that happen across the history of this country. You can't put it in one damn memorial. It's supposed to cover like between 1877 and 1950, some shit like that. Talking about it's documenting 4,400 lynching victims. That's it. That's all. And that's a motherfucking lie, right? Right? They list 4 measly people's names who were lynched out there in Auburn. I forget the names, but they list 4 people that were lynched out there in Auburn. These were all on fake, false, made up charges, made up things where they took these brothers and sisters out to the motherfucking courthouse and lynched them in the courtroom. That's how they used to do it back in the day. Off of lies, off of made up shit. These were all false charges, right? So, you don't know. 4 people, I'm like, that's that bullshit. They base it off of newspapers and shit like that and what was reported nationally in newspapers. But that kind of memorial, that shit, that's a hard on for white society. I just want to say that's an altar for white society to go visit and get a physiological mind-body release. They get a nut busted off of that for them to immerse themselves in all that energy of dead black people, okay? Because we know white-skinned individuals, they are fucking energy vultures. We talk about that. But since they can't be out in the sun directly and take that kind of energy in like us, they have to take the closest thing they can to sun energy. That means black presence. Just us speaking, they're able to get energy off of that. Since they can't be by the sun, they'll die, right? Just us dying, and they make a memorial, and they get to kind of just be around our body's essence, our former body's essence, right? They are able to be around that energy. They're able to regenerate themselves, right? They do it in a weird ass way. They can't just be in the sun and regenerate. They got to be around the energy of motherfuckers like us. They got to feed off of us because they're parasites, right? White-skinned individuals. This is all science. Ain't nobody making this shit up. So, they got to be around our energy and what we expend. Dead or alive, they are masturbating over our energies and things like that. So a motherfucking altar like that, this memorial, this lynching memorial, they get drunk and high and they go out to that shit. It's like going to the club for white people, going to these black death memorials, right? These are energy vampires we're dealing with. I know y'all know. My channel is of a certain vibration. The people that come to my shit, y'all already, you know what I mean? I know my history. Y'all know my book learnings. Y'all know the crews that I done ran with. Y'all already done put it together. But after this memorial got built, damn, they had a writer out there from Auburn. This was all in the paper, all in the news or whatever. I forget his first name. I think his last name was Sutton. 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 He put up this editorial talking about Democrats need to be lynched. Y'all remember that shit? You know what I'm saying? Democrats need to be lynched. Let me find what he was hollering about. Fool talking about we need to bring the KKK back so they can go get the Democrats and go lynch the Democrats. Like, motherfucker, come on, man. Motherfucker ain't dumb. We know what the fuck you talking about. You ain't slick. We know that lynching is about black people, not no damn Democrats. You know what I'm saying? Ain't about no damn Democrats. Straight up the fucking down. The guy's trying to say that his statement was, oh, they got on his ass and it was like, you know, trying to say he was trying to make a statement about lynching socialist communism out of Washington, D.C. And all that's coded language. COINTELPRO told you that their mission, in their mission statement documents, it all circled back around the black society. They put communism in that shit, but it all circulated all the way back to black society, the black messiahs, the black groups. It wasn't about no communism. Communism wasn't no enemy of this motherfucking country. Ain't never been. And I could show you the leaderboard that connects Donald Trump to Putin through Manafort and all of that shit. It ain't no we against communism. We ain't against the history of communism. Come on, man. It wasn't about no communism. If motherfucking COINTEL was about communism and America was so anti-communism, tell me why COINTELPRO, when it existed, why was it able to take out all the black elements that it sought to get out? And why is motherfuckers sitting up talking about communism is still bad today? Communism's still around today. How is communism still the fuck around? But COINTELPRO was able to spin around and get all these black messiahs, these black, everybody black they target, they was able to get. They was able to get rid of, right? But communism is such an enemy all these 70 goddamn years later. We would have been rid of communism if this was really an enemy of America. If COINTEL and all this shit really cared about communism. But you see, you motherfuckers, y'all got rid of the Black Panthers and all these black leaders. You see what I'm saying? Yet communism is still a problem in 2019. Get the fuck out of here. So anytime these politicians start talking that communism shit, that socialism shit, I already broke down what socialism is. That's all that is white supremacist coded language for black people. Don't ever get it twisted. Don't ever get it twisted. But lynching, don't never let them throw that in front of your face as it being something that ain't about black people. It was and it still is a crime targeted disproportionately, severely disproportionately to black people. And we don't get no justice when this shit happen. They talking about this suicide and shit. Lynching black people is what the shit is about. And since we talking Auburn, this Auburn writer, you know, Auburn got a fucked up history of just all kind of shit. We talking lynching. What's some other shit they use to try to make black people or try to hide behind and say that, oh, it ain't about black people? Motherfucking, they do all kind of shit. Blackface. That's a good example. They run that blackface shit. They got a fucked up history with blackface. I'm glad I thought of that. And motherfucking Auburn, they got a fucked up history of blackface and shit out there. There was so many articles on blackface that I saw from Auburn, goddamn, at the different fraternities and sororities and shit out there. Out at Auburn University, as a matter of fact, since we're talking about Buechner and his people and his university and his current that his people around that area is keeping up in that particular county. It's like, yeah, motherfucker. Saying so, just think about that shit. When somebody in college, you know, they fresh out their college, their high school years or whatever, they fresh out of childhood, and to be on a college campus full of racist white supremacists. Like I said, they plant anti-black behavior into their children. I've said this before. I said this on the video where the little Neanderthal was talking about some black man broke into her house and stole some cookies, and her mama was just, she busted a nut off of hearing that this little white Neanderthal, little dirty little girl sitting up talking about some black man came into the house and stole something from him. And the mother was so excited to just hear the white supremacist tradition of white women blaming black men for something that they ain't do. You know what I mean? This is their culture. They teach racism into their children. Don't let them lie to you and tell you that they don't, because they're fucking liars when they do that shit. I don't believe them when they talk anyway, but especially when they get talking some shit like that. But like I said, they are raising white supremacists out there in Auburn. That's real talk, no cap. They always try to act like they have these isolated incidents of racial mockery and racially tinged hating on black people. They try to act like this shit is isolated, but tell me why. God damn it, you can go online and just key in college blackface, and god damn it, you go on for years and years and years pulling up shit, right? But let me find a few things, man. I found a cornucopia of black faces, people doing blackface at all these fucking colleges. It was ridiculous. But out there in Auburn, where this officer Buechner came through, who got popped. Let's see what I was able to find. Man, they got a sorority out there called Alpha Gamma Delta. Got the KKK up on my shit. Let me get these KKK fucks off my shit. Motherfucking ass on somewhere. They got Alpha Gamma Delta out there. That's a sorority, right? And they went through their shit in media, calling these animals out. Did a little expose on these idiots. And they whole sorority, all blackface this, blackface that. Alabama Governor Kay Ivey is a part of Alpha Gamma Delta sorority, and just throughout the 60s, 70s, 80s, they was pulling up all their books, going through their sorority books. Blackface, 60s, 70s, 80s, is blackface, all this shit, all through the shit. Now, Kay Ivey says she wasn't a part of none of that shit. Hold on, let me pull up some of her people and how they look when they were doing that shit. Since she said it ain't her, oh, it ain't you, bitch, lying ass bitch. Let me get to it. Here goes some of Kay Ivey people. Let's go some of the old work. That's some of the old racism. You see this motherfucker out there in the corner? See that corner? Down there in the corner. See all the motherfuckers sitting in the hot pants with blackface on? That's Kay Ivey people. Kay Ivey, the motherfucking governor of motherfucking Alabama. This bitch. Alright? The same Kay Ivey, her ass was on motherfucking Twitter. Put some more of her shit up. More of her people. She was on Twitter not too long ago defending all these Confederate monuments they got out in Alabama. People was like, bitch, why are you defending that shit? That's the losers, racists, loser ass weak boys, traitors. And she's like, oh, it's heritage, it's history, all this shit. So you already know what she kicking. That's Auburn University right there. That's the best Auburn University got to offer, is a bitch kicking that shit. She the same motherfucker that was also, she signed this anti-abortion bill out there that people was talking about over this week. So you know what that's about. Protecting the white birth rate. People want to act like it ain't. She's talking about you motherfucker finna get 99 years in jail for an abortion, irregardless of rape or incest. Motherfucker. Alright. That's all about racist white supremacy. She's on code with that shit. Just because she an old bitch don't mean she don't know everything. She know more of the code than a lot of these young motherfuckers. She's helping motherfuckers get the code by saying, look, I'm going to stand behind these white men that say, stand up for this anti-abortion bill because it's really going to affect white people. Stand behind this shit, white bitch, and get down. I'm able to get down, right? She's already on tap with it. She ain't playing. All right? Talking about, she about preserving heritage. You know what heritage is? Heritage is another code word for white supremacy. It's another code word they try to run. But what else, man? They got Gamma Phi Delta out there. That's another sorority, one of these racist sororities out there at Auburn. They got that male fraternity, Delta, is it Delta Gamma Phi? Let me pull up, just flash through some racists over there at their school. Is this what being a nigger feels like? Look at that bitch in blackface. Fucking dirtball white bitch, right? One of their male fraternities stay getting hemmed up with lawsuits and stay getting kicked off the campus for hazing and racist white supremacist shit. Here you go. These motherfuckers right here. You see they got the KKK robe on, wearing the cowboy hat with the white supremacist beard and the motherfucking camouflage pants. That's white supremacist gear, all that type of shit. You see they got the dude in blackface with a noose around his neck, looking like Eminem with blackface on and a noose around his neck. This is Auburn U. Alright? Delta Sigma Phi is the name of it. Okay. Get the name right. It's Delta Sigma Phi. They were the ones that had these photos circulated of them in blackface, wearing KKK robes and wearing nooses. This was some years ago. This is the current being kept up in Auburn. So when they cops get popped, I'll be like, and? Motherfucker, and? There go them again. You see what the Omega Psi, they got the Omega Psi Phi shirt on and shit, wearing blackface. You see this shit? So yeah, when I hear William Beuchner got popped, I be like, oh, he got? Motherfucker, give a damn. But anyway, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you know when your boy out here dropping the shit. And don't forget to check out my Teespring and all of this. That shit. Play your riff. Playerific in a bitch. You see it? You with me? Let me get it, y'all.